thank you guys for being here. I'm going to introduce our speaker tonight. A lot of you already know him. David's been in the building world for 20 years. He's with Ensign Building Solutions, Ensign Luxury Homes. They do mold, radon, asbestos, lead, energy, all sorts of stuff that we geek out on in this class. So he's going to come talk to us about mold and radon. Please welcome David Goulding.
Thank you very much, Chris. I appreciate that. And just a quick introduction. Drew is my compadre here. I invited him because I wanted him to, you mentioned geek out. So you introduced the word. So fair game, right? To introduce him to a whole bunch of geeks, fellow geeks. You guys introduced yourselves, and I appreciate that introduction. A few people that I don't know, I'm trying to gather names and companies. But I didn't really hear, unless it was just presumptive in the name of your company, why you're here. I think that was one of the things that Stephen said you're supposed to announce. So, why are you here?
Right here, Dave.
Thank you, Mike. Honesty.
We run into a lot of mold situations, and we want to give our customers the right advice.
Excellent. Okay, cool. That's a really good reason. Yes, sir.
We want to be smarter about it. We've been sued twice in the past 12 months.
Yeah.
For,
That's the mold is gold, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Very, very fair. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I'm a healthcare practitioner, but I also work as an independent consultant with my own business. I'm working with families that have a diagnosis of SIRS, biotoxin illness, mast cell activation syndrome. Generally, mold is in the home and we have to address it. So that's
Okay.
my clientele.
Excellent. Okay. Very cool. Thank you. Yeah. Any others want to share? Appreciate that. Yes, ma'am.
I just want to learn more about radon versus the true stuff versus the hype the salesman try to.
You bet. Okay, excellent. Any others? Thank you for sharing. For those who had legitimate, I imagine everyone's reason for being here is legitimate, but those were very good ones. So thank you for sharing that. The reality is that moisture, well, what's the home's number one enemy? Water, right? Moisture, okay? And it is about somewhere every year, it's about a $2 to $3 billion a year industry suing builders for moisture problems. Okay, it's very real, and it's something that builders deal with every day. It's something that homeowners deal with. If you're an existing home, then you deal with moisture management every day. More so than you realize, right? Just proper use of HVAC, right? You expect that it was designed right and installed right. Well, you've got to maintain it right also in order to make sure that you are removing moisture from the house, not just changing temperature, right? So it's a different perspective, but moisture management is huge, and hopefully we'll cover enough about that. So just to give you a little bit of background, Chris did a great introduction, I appreciate that. Really, when I teach building science, I do a lot of classes for the HBA, do a lot of classes for realtors, but ultimately when I teach building science, I look at it like a three-legged stool, okay? Very often, people who in the building science industry speak of energy efficiency, and that's huge. That's one of the primary components. But if we look at it without a comprehensive view, then we might make some mistakes. So to me, it's a three-legged stool. You've got energy efficiency, you also have moisture management, and you also have indoor air quality. You really have to consider all of these components to design and build a high-performance house the proper way, okay? So I'm accustomed to teaching 3-hour classes, and my objective in those 3-hour classes is to keep people awake. And I'm like, if they learn something, they walk away from it, then that's just frosting on the cake. So today is a little bit shortened, and also you guys are far more intelligent and experienced than the average group that I'm usually in front of. So I'm going to approach it a little bit differently. And I have no slides. You can see behind me. Okay, we're not projecting anything today. So a lot of the information is going to come from you. What I'm going to do is try and ask the right questions. All right, that's my goal today, is ask the right questions, and then information really is going to come from you. And then we'll talk about things. Okay, if we want to hover over a subject for a little bit, we're gonna kind of go with the flow here. All right? Fair enough? Yeah. With that being said, you guys know who Steve Harvey is? Today I'm Steve Harvey, okay? And we're going to play a little Family Feud, all right? You guys know the game. Hopefully you like it, and hopefully this will get you out of your seats, because ultimately what we're going to do is, see all my toys up here? There's room for games here too, but we'll have games within games. Here is your buzzer, okay? We're going to say you guys over here are team 1, or team A, or
The A team.
Team efficiency. By raising hands, we're good with that? All right, team efficiency, very good. And you guys are team?
B team.
The B team. Everyone's okay with that?
Sure.
Fair enough? All right, great. Okay, what we're gonna do here is I'm gonna ask one person from each team to come up and represent at a time. Okay, you'll answer one question and then you'll sit back down. It'll be the next person's turn and we'll just kind of rotate through. You don't have to come up if it's your turn and you don't want to. Just put your head on your desk like this, cover your eyes, a shell over your head or helmet or whatever to hide yourself, and that'll be fine. All right. If you get all right, when I ask the question, first person to ring in gets to answer. All right, you get 10 seconds to spout off the right answer. If your answer is incorrect or if you don't have an answer at all, the other person gets to steal and they can phone a friend on their team. All right? So we're kind of mixing games here. It's kind of like the Who Wants to Be a Millionaire show also. You guys ready for this?
Sure.
All right. First person from each
Please phone
team.
a friend.
You can only phone a friend on a steal.
Okay. All right, just
Does
check.
that make sense? And your friend has to be in this room and on your team.
And you have to go by name.
That would make it even better, wouldn't it? Okay, contestant number one. Shall we start at the front row or start at the back row? Front row? All right, come on up, Chris.
All right.
And front row for the B team. Come on up.
Come on, Mike.
Bring it.
Hi.
Don't be scared.
Hey.
He's getting up.
Sam's actually mad at me.
You guys ready for this? All right, hands behind your back. Hands behind. No, yep. All right. Hands behind your back. All right, you can ring in at any time. I don't have to finish the question. But if you ring in too early, I'm going to finish the question for your opponent. All right?
Oh.
Question number one. How long after building materials get wet does it take for mold to begin to grow?
Come on.
It depends.
That can't be wrong.
Relative humidity, we talked about it.
Hold on. Let me check. Steve? No. Well, all right, tell you what. We're going to require more information.
From you or from us?
From you. I'm going to give 5 seconds for more information.
It depends on relative humidity and airflow.
We need to define time.
Time is relative.
Okay,
That's all I got.
B team.
I think it also. 4 hours.
Can't steal mine.
4 hours.
4 hours is not correct.
More than 4 hours.
There's no point awarded.
4 hours in one.
Zeros. Let's see. Okay, next. Come on up. If you would, please join us up here. Drew, come on up. And up. Yeah. Oh, did you want the answer? The correct answer? Did anyone from the audience know?
24 hours.
The textbooks will tell you, and we're going to stick with the textbooks, 48 to 72 hours. That's how long you have after a water event in order to dry things out. Otherwise, you will have mold growth. Okay? Yes, there is obviously some factors that are going to vary. Air movement certainly is one of them. Because air movement, you know what air movement does? What does a mitigation company do when you have a water event? What's the first thing they do? What's the first thing they do?
Vacuum out the water.
They extract, right? They remove the bulk water, okay? Remove as much of the water as you possibly can, okay? Because then you're just relying upon evaporation and then removal of moisture vapor through the dehumidifiers, right? What does air movement do?
Evaporation.
It increases your evaporation potential. Yeah, very good, okay? So that's how air movers and dehumidifiers work in tandem, is the air movers run across the moisture and they turn it from a liquid into a vapor, and then the dehumidifiers do their thing and they pull the moisture vapor out and then condense it and discharge it out the back. Right. Okay. No points. All right, question number 2. You guys ready? What are the 3 necessary ingredients for mold to grow? This is a little unfair. I'm sorry.
Cheater.
You want to go first?
Go ahead.
Water, a feedable source, and a nice area for it to grow, like a warm area for it to grow.
Not correct.
We're gonna have to talk after this.
Steal it.
Yeah, okay, I'll try. Moisture, moisture, heat, some warmth, temperature. Yeah, high temperature,
Organic.
Oh, yeah.
To start.
And this, what'd you say?
Food source.
We phoned a friend. It's okay.
source is organic material.
That's the correct, that is a correct answer, but you actually have missed one.
Time.
So, time is up. No point awarded. Now let's discuss what the actual answer is. Thank you very much. This was good. Very good. Is heat required for mold to grow?
No.
Can you grow mold inside of refrigerator, right?
Yes.
Your refrigerator is 41 degrees, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right, good. So let's control, now of those, here's the takeaway, all right? Of the ingredients that are required, which one is controllable? Moisture, right? The organic food source is everywhere, oxygen is everywhere, mold spores are everywhere. We're gonna, you know, I'm gonna start asking the question differently now, Mike, because of you. And then there's now 4 ingredients, and one of them is mold spores. All right, fair enough. Okay, next up. Come on up.
What are you thinking, Sam Adams or whatever?
All right. Okay, next question. At what % relative humidity is there enough moisture in the air for mold to grow? You don't even need bulk water. That's close. I'm gonna go plus or minus 5%, you're not there.
Oh, come on.
Plus or minus 5%, you're
Wow.
not there.
Mold's not growing at 50.
65 is correct. You're in a range, nicely done. All right. We are on the board. Congratulations, team. Okay, next up, let me, Mike just asked an interesting question. He said that he's heard as low as 60% relative humidity. And in my experience, and I don't have any actual testing for this in my experience, if mold is actively growing on an organic food source like wood or drywall, whatever, building material, and you have 60% relative humidity, it will continue to proliferate at that level of relative humidity, okay? But it's not gonna begin, it's not gonna start, yeah, until you get around 65% or higher. That's the point at which mold can start to grow, simply because the mold spores attach themselves to a surface, and they've got adequate moisture now that they can metabolize the organic food source and start to colonize.
So go back to your heat comment before, what's the minimum temperature?
It loves the temperatures that we love.
Yeah.
More in the 70s and 80s is really what mold loves to grow.
Isn't it like 70% sort of the sweet spot? For
It
the
really
stuff that
is.
needs building?
Yeah, 70%, 80 degrees relative humidity, temperature. Yeah, absolutely. That's the optimum conditions for mold to grow in. Yeah. But really anything higher than 65%, you're in danger. Okay. The red flag should be going up. All right. You guys ready for this? Question number 4. Radon gas is produced naturally within the soil from the decay of what element?
Uranium.
Uranium is correct.
Nice.
Nicely done. Nicely done. All right, next up. Tada.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
All right. Here we go. Now, we're going to stick with radon for just a little bit here. You ready for this? Name 3 of the 5 necessary components for radon-resistant new construction. Okay, the code book, actually IRC does address RRNC, radon-resistant new construction. It has 5 components listed. Name 3 of those 5 for installing an RRNC system.
I'll say the vapor barrier, a vent, and I don't know, go, what do you think? Fan, I'll go fan. I don't know.
That's a really good guess, not correct.
I'm at a loss. I would have gotten the uranium question.
That's good. Do you want to phone a friend?
and you need gravel, something that's underneath the plastic that is the gaps between are large enough so you're not getting water and so air can flow out and get.
That is correct. That is one of gravel. The aggregate layer is one of the components. Absolutely, yes. I would have also accepted labeling.
Labeling.
Labeling is one of the components that's necessary. Yes. The aggregate layer. So, in essence, for those who has anyone here built with a RRNC with a passive? First of all, it is passive. That's why a fan is not part of one of the components. Anyone built RRNC that wants to describe? Who wants to take a stab at it?
You mean with the system?
Yes.
Passive system?
Yes.
Mine just
Describe-
went, I still had 14 after.
Okay, and that's, so you know what, probably it would have been 28 without it.
Right, sure.
Okay, it doesn't necessarily mean that you did something wrong.
Yeah, but that radon map is 30 years old from the EPA.
Okay.
It should be weird.
That's the only one we'll
There's
ever
a,
have.
there's a newer one from 2018, I believe.
What's that?
There's a newer one, I think, from 2018, if I'm not mistaken.
From the EPA?
Not from the EPA, from University of Georgia, which is our extension for radon.
Was it self-reported though, by homeowners?
I don't know. I don't know. But UGA publishes it, so that's good enough for me. In my business. All right, next up. 5 foot in each direction, yes. But again, if you're gonna go that route because it's $100 cheaper, then talk to your code official first and make sure they're gonna accept that. Because when you look at the IRC language, it says a sub-slab loop. Okay, that's what I would advise. All right, next up.
Can you say what the other ones, you said there were 5, can you say what the other ones are? Now, you also need a power source in the attic for the fan?
You do need a power source in the attic for a fan, yes.
That's not number 5, is it?
No, it's not one of the 5. So the 5 is the aggregate layer, the vapor barrier, and the loop, and then the vertical stack and the labeling. So your collection system consists of both a loop subslab as well as the vertical stack. So it identifies both of those two things, it calls it two separate things.
Is that a passive as opposed to?
That's a passive system, yes. You want to activate it, you put a fan on. Yes.
Manometers not required on it, so you can see the.
No. Yes.
The part that was new to me was, you said the aggregate base. I understand that that's gonna be under a slab or a basement slab. What if you have a crawl space? Because you're saying you're required to have gravel under the plastic in a crawl space?
You would not be in that case, no. Not in the case of a crawl space. Under a slab or under a basement,
Yeah, I
Then
get that,
yes.
but not in a crawl
not in a
space.
crawl space.
It helps.
The best, if I'm just a concerned homeowner, a long-term test, anything 91 days or greater, is the most effective method. I just want to know what the levels of radon are in my house. The longer the testing term, the more accurate the information, right? But the EPA developed the 48-hour test so that you can, in real estate transactions, when you got due diligence, then you can do that. But a CRM is the most effective because then you get multiple readings every hour. It's taking a reading and giving you an average over 48 hours.
So a CRM, is that something the company needs to come out? And
Continuous radon monitoring, yeah.
Okay, so,
Yeah. Radon testing companies always have them.
okay.
Can I say, Aranet has one that's like $160, and you can get it in a reliable reading in 1 hour. That's the best I've seen for an actual.
That's really cheap.
real. It's called Aranet, RN.
Not aware of that. I need to look that one up.
And they also incorporated radon into their new indoor air quality measurement too.
Oh, yeah? Cool.
All right, next question. You guys ready for this one? All right.
Get ready.
Come on, Francis. Do it. Why is an unfinished basement more susceptible to mold growth than an attic?
I would say there's less things to absorb the moisture.
You said more susceptible in a basement?
More susceptible in a basement than an attic.
Good photo.
And I'll say an unfinished basement, right?
Which kind of
That's a good guess, but not acceptable.
Which kind?
So say there's typically an unfinished basement, it's gonna be a colder temperature because you're below grade, so you have more condensing surfaces, right?
Head pressure.
I like that.
All right,
So there's more moisture.
good answer.
Did you do point your answer?
All right. So this next one, I'm gonna do a little demonstration after this next question. Go ahead and, next contestant, come on up. Thank you for playing. All right. We've used the term relative humidity quite a few times in this discussion so far. Define relative humidity.
Oh, come on.
The amount of moisture within a molecule in the air in home.
That's really close to a correct answer.
Keep going with the answer, don't
Wait,
quit.
don't work.
You're taking a breath.
Commentators and color people, all right, you get a chance to steal.
The amount of moisture in the air relative to the temperature.
Relative to the temperature is correct.
I would say relative to the amount and hold.
Right, what its capacity is.
Let's do a little, have a little game within a game. All right, I need one volunteer, come on up. Somebody. Somebody accustomed to pouring drinks. Represent the temperature. In Georgia, let's just call it August. What's the average temp? Daytime temps are 85. Really, is it 85? I mean, we get some 85. Can we go with 90 degrees for easy math? 90 degrees for easy math. All right, this represents 90-degree air, okay? At nighttime, gets down what? What's our temperature differential between day and night? 70, right? Maybe 20-degree differential between day and night. That's pretty fair, is it not? All right, if you would please, in the daytime, we have, what's our relative humidity in August? What was it today? It was pushing 90%. It was pushing 90% in the morning. Yeah. So let's call it 80%. Is that fair? Sure. 90 degrees at 80% relative humidity. We all agree that's kind of typical for this time of year. Go ahead and let's make this 90-degree air 80% relative humidity.
80% full of what it could hold.
90 degrees and 80%?
Right, that's right.
About 75.
Not anymore.
That's never been achieved.
Nice. Okay, great.
90 degrees, 80%.
Okay. 90 degrees, 80% relative humidity. The sun sets, and in the morning you have? Why? Go ahead and let's make this temperature, we're not going to use this water, because we're not adding any more moisture to the air.
Right.
Right? The number of moisture grains in the air stays the same, but we reduce the temperature. What happens to the RH? Go ahead and pour that in and let's see what happens.
It's more than 75 or something.
Oh wait, we still.
Hey, don't be a quitter.
It's only 99% relative humidity. That's all right. You don't have to make a mess. We're good. Thank you for that. Appreciate that. All right. So we didn't add any more moisture. All we did is drop the temperature. So we wonder why basements or crawl spaces are more susceptible to mold growth. It is because
Colder air can't hold as much moisture.
cooler air cannot hold as much moisture as warm air, right? Okay, just a fun little demonstration on the definition of relative humidity. Now you got that visual in your head, you might manage your projects a little bit differently. All right. Next up. A question about ventilation here?
I don't want to make our sponsor mad. It's back around. BT, go BT.
Let's see. All right.
We're ready.
No cheating. Just for that, we're going to penalize them. All right, you ready? Describe two different methods of mechanical ventilation.
Come on, bro.
Well, we can do exhaust only, but that's not recommended. We can do supply only. We could have an inline fan. We could have outside air ducted into the return, central fan integrated supply. We could have dedicated dehumidifier. We could.
There's all kinds of.
Yeah. We can do balanced ventilation with the Brone ERV, which is what I have in my house. Nice. Sucking up big time. Yeah. We could do hybrid approach too, where we use maybe some of the times we are positive pressure using outside air in return. We could make up the difference when we need it with running an exhaust fan.
Awesome.
Sound good?
Okay.
You said 2, that was 8, you got it wrong.
That was it? Sorry. Good. Nicely done. All right, team B team gets point. We're tied up here. Have I been keeping score correctly? Anyone else watching?
It's all good. It's all good.
You guys are even. I didn't even tell you what you're playing for. You know what you're playing for?
Free beer.
And bragging rights. For a year. All right, next up.
Come on, Joe.
No competition.
Oh, wow.
Oh, God.
All right.
Don't beat you.
Get a power question.
Okay. According to the EPA, how many people per year does radon gas kill? Every year.
Closest answer without overbidding the show.
I will go, we'll make this multiple choice. Is it 0 to 10,000, 10,001 to 20,000, 20,001 to 30,000, or 30,001 to 40,000? A, B, C, or D?
C, 10,001 to 20,000.
It's a very good guess, but not correct.
C.
C is correct.
C was always the answer on the test, right?
Is that actually true?
What's the actual number?
The actual number the EPA publishes is 21,000 deaths per year from lung cancer due to radon exposure.
You know, what's the timeline? It's not like immediate, like you move in
It's
the
not.
house.
When they publish it, they say over a lifetime of exposure. So they haven't defined what that means. Lifetime could be 20 years or 60 years, I don't know. And they've never answered that question that I know of.
What's the average age of people dying?
I've known of people that die. Has anyone ever known of somebody dying from lung cancer? That never smoked a day in their life? In all likelihood, based upon statistics, it was from exposure to radon. So what age were they?
50.
It does. Do you guys know how many people drunk driving kills per year? Again, according to the EPA? It's about 15,000 people per year. So radon gas kills more people than drunk driving. What do we do about drunk driving?
Have some more beer.
Here we are. Right? But we do very little in most states, and certainly in Georgia, about radon gas, about building it out. So one of my jobs here is to encourage everybody to install radon passive systems, okay? At a minimum. It's really, really cheap and inexpensive if you do it at the start. Okay. Yes, sir.
Are we a high-risk state?
We are, yeah. There's plenty of Zone 1 areas.
The 4 metro counties are all Zone 1.
So,
And the radon map has changed. So look at the updated map. That initial map was actually GPD as well. So it's reliable information. If you go to, University of Georgia is the radon extension for the state. So they are the official voice and not the EPA for the state of Georgia. So if you look at their recent map, you'll see a lot more detail than just the 4 counties. Yes, sir.
No matter where you are in the country, though, or in the world for that matter, if you don't have a radon system, then you are also not protected against underground pollution of any kind. So if there's a pollution, like a factory explodes, or a train derails, or something, and chemicals get into the ground, they can go under your house and then evaporate under your house.
Other
Come to the
soil
cracks.
gases.
Yeah.
So it's like, we're doing all this airtightness on the above, why not? It's so cheap. Yeah, so.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree 100%. Thank you. We got a few more. We got a little bit more time, so let's keep playing. All right, you guys ready for this? What is the safe level for radon?
Below 2.0 picocuries per liter.
That's really impressive. You know the metric. Good job.
Well done.
But it's not correct.
It's not you.
I would below 7.
Below 7 is also not correct.
We get another turn.
Anybody else?
He would say-
Mitigation. 4 to 4, you should consider mitigation and retest.
Nicely done. Yeah. Okay. Say that louder because that's a 1, 2.
4.0, you should mitigate. 2 to 4, you should consider mitigation and retest annually.
That wasn't the
I
question.
like your answer better.
That wasn't the question. No, you asked what the safe level.
And what is the right answer, Howard? Zero. Zero is the safe level. So we'll applaud you anyway for giving a very good, useful answer. The action level for defined by the EPA is 4.0 picocuries per liter. That's nationwide. So in any real estate transaction, that's what you're going to be held to. Okay. How often should you retest?
Continually.
Every 2 years is the recommendation by the EPA. Everything I'm quoting is on the EPA website. Okay, every 2 years. Why?
Because it changes.
Say your thing.
It's a naturally occurring gas that is always changing. You never know how it's gonna be coming up through your slab.
Thank you very much.
She's got a good.
Mine goes
That's a point.
from 0.2 in the summer when it's dry to 7 in February when it's raining out.
And why would that be?
I don't know, I hope you're gonna tell me.
Okay, very good. What happens to building dynamics?
Reverse that.
Tell me about building dynamics in the various seasons. What do you understand about that? Please.
Yes.
Atmospheric pressure, absolutely. Yeah, barometric pressure, hydrostatic pressures change within a system. Yeah, all kinds of things. Yeah, any other?
Stack effect.
Stack effect changes from season to season, right? So the greater the stack effect, the greater the draw of those earth gases into the house. Okay? Any cavity that it can go through. Actually, a radon molecule can pass through concrete as well. And it can even pass through 6 mil vapor barrier. It's not the path of least resistance, but it can pass through it. Okay, you earned that point too. All right, anybody here a good shot? Go with a handgun? Anyone? Thank you. I think you got like 5, 6 rounds there, 7 rounds. Rachel, you get to pick your least favorite person in the room to hold the target.
I
let
haven't
you-
made any friends or enemies
I'll
yet,
let you
so I
choose.
don't know. Let's go for Mike.
That's an easy target. You don't just get to aim and fire. I'm going to ask you to, you can aim and then I want you to close your eyes and then fire. Okay?
At will.
It's only gonna get better. Smile. Who knew that was gonna happen today?
All of them?
How many shots do you need to make? Close your eyes before you shot. You got to close your eyes.
Safety
Okay.
glasses are on.
You have to close your eyes and count to 1/1000 before you pull the trigger.
Okay. Because he's only
Down,
down.
down, down.
1,000.
Down, but not too down.
Down, a little lower.
I sure am learning.
I'd like to frame you out.
Good shot.
Precise.
Nice grip. I think she's looking now.
I'm not
Down,
looking.
down, down, down.
What are we learning
I was going for his space, not the target.
Target up.
Down, 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 down.
Put the target where it's been All right, let's give Rachel a hand.
Yeah, Rachel.
You guys are good sports. Appreciate that. Okay, what are we learning here, Danielson? All right. What's the safe level of radon?
0.
Is it possible that Rachel could have hit the target with just on the very first round?
Yeah.
Is it possible?
Yeah.
Is it likely?
No.
Highly unlikely, right? So at 1 picocurie per liter, is it possible that somebody could contract lung cancer after a lifetime of exposure to 1 picocurie per liter?
Sure.
Yeah, it's possible, right? Likely? No. But you guys make your own judgment as homeowners as to what level is safe or unsafe for you, okay? That's up to you to determine. But according to the EPA website, they will tell you there's no safe level of radon, okay? All right. Any questions about radon? What it is, where it comes from, why it's there, how we get rid of it, or how we prevent it?
Is it tested for in schools or in buildings?
It is rarely tested for in any type of municipal setting. Rarely. And rarely will you ever find a system. Radon testing, so not all testers are the same, right? I mean, there's good ones and not good ones. As far as, I'm talking about like the people doing the testing. A lot of times people will offer testing and then you might do a little litmus test and say, you know, when was the last time your system was calibrated? Oh, I calibrated myself. We've heard that answer from home inspectors who do testing. Okay, can you calibrate a system yourself? You know, a CRM's got to be sent back to the manufacturer and they do the calibration. But it has to be calibrated every single year, otherwise it's an invalid test, quite literally. What's for testing? What do you have to leave the house and not enter?
Aren't you supposed to just operate normally?
You call it closed house conditions and operate normally. Exactly. Open the door to exit and enter, and don't leave windows open. But closed house conditions. Leave your HVAC system on. Use your bath fans as normal. Okay, it's just supposed to be normal conditions. There's so many factors, obviously, as far as the actual entry of radon gases into the house. I mean, will a tighter house have higher levels of radon than a leaky house? It depends. I don't think you can categorically say that tight houses result in higher levels of
It's not
radon.
airborne. It's separate from airborne.
Well, I mean, if the tight house is air sealed at the floor and it's over a crawl space, then that's a good thing.
It is a good
But
thing.
if the tight house lets the radon in and then it can't easily exchange air out, that's a bad thing. But
Right.
a tight house with intentional ventilation is kind of what we're trying to get at.
Yes. Intentional ventilation, including radon ventilation,
Including
a radon vent system. Yeah. I wouldn't turn it off. The way I look at it is, it's over a lifetime of exposure. You're not gonna have immediate health implications from exposure to 14 and then the next day is 2, so you're gonna turn it on when it's 14 but not when it's 2. Because it's your exposure over a lifetime, right? Every single breath you inhale, you're gonna have some level of radon gas. And the half-life of radon is 3.8 days. And then it goes into radon as it, you know what radioactive means? It's a radioactive gas, right? What does radioactive mean? How does it do damage to the lungs?
Putting out electrons?
Alpha particles.
Alpha.
Alpha particles, yes. As it decays, everything's in the state of decay, right? Remember 5th grade science? I don't know if it's 5th grade, 7th grade, whatever. But everything has a half-life, right? The half-life of uranium is about 10,000 years. And so that's why it's constantly changing within the soil, the concentrations are. But radon gas has a half-life of about 3.8 days. And as it decays, it lets off, pew, 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 little alpha particles are shooting all over. And they do damage to your lung tissue, and then the replication of that damage continues and becomes cancerous. So anyway, it's a total aggregate of exposure over a lifetime. Therefore, I want it to be as low as possible. Therefore, I would keep it running all the time. And to me, I'm going to pay the extra $20 a year for the energy bill. Yes, I would go to 2 different websites, ARST, AARST, and also NRPP. Those would be the 2 websites. It'll be a good resource for you to look that up. Okay. Any other?
Dave, not trying to put you out of business, but can you talk remediation a little bit?
Yeah, you bet.
You go past the, 2 to 4 days, 2 to 3 days of mold growth, you see it, just spray some bleach water on it and scrub it out.
That's a great question, yeah. I mean, so there's DIYers out there, and there are certainly cases. So what textbooks will tell you is 10 square feet of contamination or greater, and you need to follow protocol. That protocol includes containment. So I often tell people a bad remediation job is worse than no remediation job. Okay, if you have somebody who is allergic, what % of children, according to the EPA, again, their website, what % of children are allergic to molds? Anyone know?
20%.
About 80%. Okay? About 80% of children are allergic to molds. How about adults?
About what?
How about adults? What % of adults are allergic to molds?
I bet more.
40.
It's reportedly about only 10%. Okay, now I would bet that it's higher than that just from my own experience, because I certainly am. As an inspector, I'm exposed to it, and within 10 minutes I've got an itchy throat, my nose starts running, my eyes, and everything else, right? I feel it.
What makes something involved?
That's a different discussion. So, if I'm going to remediate myself, back to the DIY question, if I have mold on this surface and I run my hand across like that, the wind disturbance is going to cause those mold spores to release into the air, and cross-contamination could happen. Inhalation of high concentration of mold spores occurs. Likelihood of somebody getting sick increases. So containment is a necessary component to proper remediation, and that's why I would not DIY it. But if I know the source of the moisture and it's in a tiny corner of my bathroom, I would take not bleach, but I would take peroxide. Hydrogen peroxide is a better homegrown solution. Put it in a spray bottle. What you buy is about 3% concentration in the brown or clear bottle. And just spray it on, leave it wet for 8 to 10 minutes, wipe it off. You should be good. Yeah, if it's drywall, you might have to remove it, because if you've got mold on the surface, you probably have mold going through that gypsum. Yeah, okay, dead mold is just as allergenic as live mold. Okay, so the definition of remediation is removal. You need to remove it from surfaces. So fogging, you can fog a antimicrobial, you can fog a fungicide in the air that actually might kill the mold, but that mold is still allergenic. So you may stop it in its tracks if you take the moisture component away and it can't continue to grow. You can fog, but again, removal is proper remediation.
Is there a way to see if there's mold without actually tearing into something or seeing it physically? Is there some kind of sensor? You can see it. You can see it through the blood work,
That's
right?
such a good question.
Smell it? Smell it?
You can smell it. Taste. Yeah. So I'll give you a little bit of an example. Let me show you. This guy, has anyone ever seen one of these before? This is called the spore trap, all right? An aerosol unit, and you hook it up to a little tube and a pump, and it draws air through the tube, and it captures any spores that are within the air. You draw a certain volume of air for a certain amount of time, you send it to a third-party laboratory, microbiologist opens it up, looks at it under a microscope, and tells you what types of mold spores are found and the concentration. You take one sample inside, you take a sample outside, and you compare the results. Okay? Sounds like a good, clean science, right?
No.
Why not?
We do air quality testing in our multifamily before we turn over to sell the property, and my understanding is that
it's almost one-to-one, the same spores that are inside or outside, because air moves through these walls.
All the time.
Unless you have, so that sounds silly, if you just put it, unless there's a problem area with something that might be one of the bad ones.
How do you catch the problem before it's grown though?
Okay, so let me address a few things that you said there. First of all molds that are inside your house, let's just assume they're allergenic, so
You
they're all
said spores, so I'm saying.
spores,
All the
okay?
same spores are outside, inside, same thing, but which ones are bad? Or
So,
is that what the point is?
The purpose of testing and why this was developed is, at least in theory, if I have a higher concentration of any type of mold indoors and it's higher than the outdoors, then in theory, that's an indication of active mold growth inside, right? And that stands to reason until you consider mold spores are microscopic. They're about 2 to 20 microns in size. The smallest thing that your human eye can see is 50 microns. So you can't see a mold spore floating in the air, all right? The wind blows outside, and if I take my outdoor control sample now, or an hour from now, or tomorrow, or whatever, it's going to be a different result. And I'm comparing that to my indoor result. It's just a very inexact science. So when people ask us to do testing, yeah, absolutely, we'll do it. I'll ask them why they want testing, and they say, because I want to know if I have mold. And I said, let us come and do an inspection. We're going to use thermal imaging and moisture meters and determine what your moisture issues are, right, relative humidity and all that. And then, do a visual assessment. And yes, we can do testing also, but if it doesn't agree with what our visual inspection and other instrumentation tells us, then it may be a false positive. It's really easy to get false positives and false negatives. That's the reason I wanted to talk about this.
In your career, have you ever had a oh crap moment and say you should move out? Like,
Oh yeah.
How often does that happen in your?
It would be in a case where I know that they have high allergenic predisposition. Kids have asthma and are highly allergic, and there's heavy mold growth in a basement or a crawl space that's right beneath the kid's bedroom and that type of thing. And I'm obviously, disclaimers, I'm not a health professional, right? I think Rachel's a health professional.
I am a health professional.
So I don't tell people what to do. I just say, you got a lot of mold here.
The way that I advise is you generally go off of, if you have some type of sampling. I do not like to only have air sampling. I like dust sampling. I want to have all cavity samples, tape samples, swab samples, multiple types of samples. ERMI, a dust sampling kit, has become very popular, so I get a lot of clients coming to me with those samples. I go off those results, an inspection report, and who is the most ill person in the family. In our family, it was a child, which is very difficult to figure out what are you symptomatic with, what is being caused, or what's causing the symptoms. We were not allergic to mold, we had mold illness, which is different as well. So EPA still has no standards at state or federal levels for sampling, inspection, testing, or remediation. There is standards as per OSHA for your construction standards, but there's still no standards, and in all the trainings, I've done nearly every inspector certification on the market. We are still told it affects infants, the elderly, and the immunocompromised, and it's only going to cause asthmatic symptoms or chronic sinusitis. And I now coach physicians, practitioners, laymen in how to recognize symptoms in their clients. If you're in the environmental industry, very rarely are you told, here's the slew of symptoms you could have and how ill you could be. When you're a health professional, you're told, tell them to consider environment, but not how.
Right.
So what I'm doing is trying to educate people on both sides of the aisle on, if you're a health professional, how to tell them to find the right person and what's even necessary. I would argue that inspection is the most necessary part of a remediation strategy.
Yeah. So cool. Thank you for all that expertise. Yeah.
Yes.
Appreciate that. I think as far as instruments that I use for a mold inspection, it's mostly up here more than anything else, right? It's just understanding how a house works, understanding where the likely moisture issues are, and then assessing those. And then from there, it will help to identify the likelihood or the presence of mold growth, and then proper remediation for it. Yeah.
Is MVOC testing, I don't think that's been mentioned, is that something that you think is useful and different from the others?
MVOC is just microbial volatile organic compound, right? So it's just a fancy way to say that certain molds produce
BO, basically.
yeah, in essence, yeah. So it's not necessarily.
But it has the same, I'm saying.
There are some molds that come back in a sampling that laboratories will identify as very common outdoor molds, which you can safely assume that it blew in from outdoors, right? Because you've got natural air changes happening out all the time anyway, right? But then others that are very likely to be indoor, Penicillium, Aspergillus, things like that are very common in indoor sampling. that absolutely are allergenic and potentially toxigenic. Doesn't mean that I don't ever use the term toxic mold, because I don't like scare tactics and stuff. People say the black mold or the harmful mold. I'm like, if there's mold in your house and it's growing, it's because of a moisture problem. So let's identify the source or sources of moisture, of excessive moisture, mitigate those, and then remove the mold, right? The contaminated materials, clean those things that are not like structural materials. Excuse me. Where the structural integrity hasn't been compromised, wood can be cleaned, right? If it's drywall, it's going to be removed. If it's insulation, it's going to be removed. So let's identify the source or sources of moisture. Let's identify the proper remediation scope of work, and then post-mitigation. That's where a time where, as far as post-mitigation testing, where I think, if there were a time where I'm going to say testing is useful, I would say it's in conjunction with a visual inspection, but after remediation, a thorough visual inspection and potentially testing is going to be good, and multiple types of testing. But even with multiple types of testing, on a swab test, if I'm a mold inspector, I will, even after the cleanest, best remediation job, I will still go and find mold on a joist somewhere. Okay, I'll still go find it in the deepest, darkest corners, because you're never going to have 100% remediation. In fact, what's the goal of a remediation job? Is it to make a house mold-free? Is there a mold-free house? Not in Georgia. I can promise you, there's not a mold-free house in Georgia. So there is a standard that basically says condition 1, 2, and 3. To bring a house to condition 1, which basically is a similar or a normal fungal ecology for a similar indoor environment. Okay, it's a big way to say that there's no more mold in this house than there is in any other house that did not have a moisture problem. That's the standard that you're trying to bring remediation to. Not mold-free, because you can't get mold-free. Yeah, for radon, there's really two primary factors that determine the likelihood of having elevated levels of radon. One is the amount of radon produced within that geographical area, right? It is the geology, it's the makeup of the soils, okay? But also there's the individual dynamics of a house, which is why this house may have 20 PCIL and this house may have 2 PCIL right next to it because of the dynamics of the house. So, but there is, if my neighbor had elevated levels, that would certainly prompt me to raise a flag for me. I think, and the EPA says, every house should be tested, no matter where you are. So, and test every 2 years.
I know it's worth definitely testing once the house is built, but do you know is that something that like land planners do when developing the neighborhood community rather than building maybe like
there's really no
stores and
accurate
stuff
way
that's
to
like
test
that?
or even project what level of radon will exist in a home until the home is built
Right.
and functioning. Yeah, there's no way to test for that.
Dave, final comments? Closing comments? I'm pulling out the hook.
Yeah, this is the hook. Appreciate all the questions and the input. Honestly, great discussion tonight. If you guys have additional, I could talk about it all day. But anyway.